Today's episode of the More You Know podcast is brought to you by CrowdQuestion, a brand new social communication platform focused on connecting crowds to bring everyone closer to their community, as well as enhancing any occasion. Rather than being a social media platform focused on content and advertising, they're focused on communication and connection. Learn more about the platform and download the app free at crowdquestion.com.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.
Today I want to explain how losses can be handled negatively or positively, explained in the book Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn by John C. Maxwell. Losing is an inevitable part of life, and nobody finds success 100% of the time. Because of this, how you handle loss matters more than most anything. You can handle loss negatively and let it hinder your life, or you can take losing in a positive way and use it to move forward. Like looking at the world with a glass half empty or glass half full, there's two distinct ways of looking at loss, which determine if you handle it negatively or positively. I want to elaborate on what having a negative outlook towards loss causes, and then from there go through what a positive outlook looks like. So when looking at loss negatively, the first thing it does is causes us to be emotionally stuck. Anxiety and fear are debilitating emotions for the human heart, and so are losses. They can weaken, imprison, paralyze, dishearten, and sicken us, which can ultimately make us feel stuck emotionally. From here, the second thing that it can do is cause us to be mentally defeated. Life is a succession of losses, and if you let it, losing can leave you defeated. And this is done by not expecting mistakes, failures, and losses to occur. Then the third thing that loss does if you look at it in a negative light is it creates a gap between I should and I did. You start thinking about shoulda, woulda, couldas, instead of thinking about what you did and what you can improve upon. Losses, especially when they add up, can lead to insecurity. When we're insecure, we doubt ourselves. This causes us to hesitate when making decisions, which can make it nearly impossible to find success and get out of this cycle. After that, the fourth thing that loss does when looked at negatively is it never leaves us the same. The negative impacts of loss can compound with time if you let them. And now that I've elaborated on what can happen when looking at loss negatively, I now want to explain how to turn loss into a gain. As I said at the start of the podcast, nobody's perfect and nobody finds success 100% of the time. And I also just explained when looking at loss as I should versus I did, that you can look at what you did when losing and work to improve upon it. The essence of doing this, being turning loss into a gain, is learning from your loss and then improving. To do this, you must first have the desire to learn from your losses, and this is done by changing the way that you look at losses. You need to learn from the losses, cultivating qualities to help you respond to them, so you can develop the ability to learn from them. And this can be done by applying 11 traits which I'm about to go through. The first is humility, which is the spirit of learning. The second is reality, which is the foundation of learning. The third is responsibility, which is the first step of learning. Then the fourth is improvement, which is the focus of learning. Then the fifth is hope, which is the motivation of learning. Then the sixth is teachability, which is the pathway of learning. Then the next trait is adversity, which is the catalyst for learning. From there, the eighth is problems, which are opportunities for learning. The ninth is then bad experiences, which are the perspective for learning. The 10th is then change, which is the positive price of learning. And finally, the 11th is maturity, which is the value of learning. What it comes down to is we learn when we are ready to learn. Everyone loses many times in their lives, and some take it negatively and others take it positively. In order to move your life forward, you must take losses positively. By doing so, you'll learn and move forward by learning, which will help with making a tremendous impact in this world and crafting a life of significance. I hope this talk makes a positive impact in your life. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening or watching it. Check out other episodes. Leave a review. Follow the podcast on social media at More You Know Pod, and sign up for CrowdQuestion to ask me questions about the episode. Again, thank you for listening as we propel through podcasting with the More You Know.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.